Alyosha, at what, about age 6, because you come from a long line of musicians, you started studying the piano and got to the point where, as you got older, how many hours a day did you practice?
About 6 to 8.
How did you do that?
Well, I had a grandmother that was clocking. Yeah.
And as far as you had no understanding of your Jewishness, but you did take a college course on atheism, and that taught you the opposite.
Well, the only thing I knew about being Jewish that I was born to a Jewish family, ethnically. But in college and in school, we were required to study atheism. And it's interesting because when people ask me, where did you learn about God in the first place, I would say the first people that taught me about God were atheists. They have to explain to you who doesn't exist.
Well, you got a point there. And so you reached a point as you were getting higher education, you saw that there was fewer and fewer opportunities in those years for a Jewish person. And so you wanted to go to the U.S. It was near impossible. And you decided to pray to this God you learned about from your course on atheism.
That's correct. I wanted to pray to God because I knew no one can help me. And I didn't know if God existed, but I wanted to try him. And so I went to pray to God, ended up in church. I knew nothing about church either. But I saw this image of Jesus there. And I said, well, some people call him God. So I said to him, Jesus, if you're God, make it possible for us to leave. And then I left the church, and maybe a week or two passed, and we received permission to leave, immigrate.
Did you attribute it that God answered your prayer, or what'd you think, really?
Well, not right away, but I began to think about it.
Okay, you get to the U.S., you investigate your Jewish identity, and your sister has an experience, who's also Jewish, has an experience with Jesus, what did you think about that?
Well, first I wondered if it's all right for a Jew to believe, but then I wasn't educated at all. And my sister brought a lot of literature home, which I began to read, and I began to be impressed, with what I read.
And of course, the Bible says a Jew requires a sign, so Alyosha asked for a sign. What happened?
Yeah, I was in my bedroom. It was dark. The sun didn't come up yet. And suddenly the bright light came into the room. It was astounding. It stood there for a few moments. I knew it was supernatural.
Could it have been a street light?
No, I actually got up to see if the car passed, but there was no noise. There was no sun, nothing. I now believe that there was a supernatural sight about God, because Scripture says God is light, and God wanted to present himself to me.
Okay, and then your sister starts a Bible study right in your home. You attend, and the teacher says to you, do you want to make Jesus your Messiah and Lord? And of course you were ready to say no, but what happened?
I was going to say no, but instead, to my own surprise, came out yes.
Why? You're too logical, Alyosha.
I am, but I guess the power of God supersedes the logic. I had to think about it for a while. Why did I say yes?
And then for a season you put down piano, even though you won all these competitions in Kiev and Ukraine. And why did you put music down?
I felt it was a lot of work, a lot of practice that I had to do in order to just to do a 2-hour concert. It didn't seem rewarding to me. And God started to change something in my heart. I really wanted to pursue him. So I laid music on the altar for a few years.
And you went to Bible college, and you met a Jewish believer who you married, Jody.
Yes.
And you went to Israel, and you had a few miracles when the two of you went to Israel.
Oh, that's correct. I've seen several miracles. I saw healings. A boy got healed of epilepsy, and but at the same time, it was in Israel that where God filled me with His Spirit in Israel, and I began to have a desire to create music for God's glory.